I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're diving into The Question, a guide to answering life's most important questions, written by a terrific author. His name is Jack Williams. This insightful book guides readers through the essential journey of discovering their true priorities, values, and beliefs. With personal stories and actionable advice, Jack helps us answer the question that shapes our lives. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his important book. The links are below this interview. Jack, thanks so much for being our guest here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan, for having me.
My pleasure. Let's start out with the elephant in the room. What is the question that shapes all of our lives?
Well, it's basically, what do you believe in life? What are going to be your values, priorities, and principles? And it was an exercise that I did back in 1993. I was out jogging and I was listening to tape on principles. And I said, principles, I know what that means. And I kind of looked it up as kind of what you believe in. And I just started a list of sentences that began with I believe and started filling in any aspect of my life that I thought about, and ended up with like 60 some odd items on my list. And I was giving myself some attaboys for putting it in writing. And I said, well, what do I do now? And I said, well, I need to keep it fresh in mind. So for the next 11 years, I read that list every morning before I went to work. And after 11 years, I started reading it once a week on every Monday morning to start the week. So I have been reading my list, and I'm on my 11th edition of it for 31 years. And it just was a game changer for me. And so I wanted to write a book about why that is so important and encourage people to do that themselves.
It's a great idea. I mean, we are what we believe, basically. Our beliefs have profound power over us. What are some of those key beliefs that were on your list?
Well, one of them is I believe in, and I'm not going to be judged by the conditions I find myself in, but rather how I respond to them. Sometimes we create those situations. Sometimes other people's decisions create those situations. Sometimes life happens. But the thing that I'm responsible for is how I respond to it. And you talked about decisions that, I believe we all make decisions, and ultimately our decisions make us. And I believe that there's going to be consequences for every decision that we make. I believe in facing reality and having the courage to act on it. So, those are some of the statements that, that hit home to me every day, on every Monday when I read it, as a reminder, right, big boy, this is what you said is important. Now your action's going to support your beliefs.
Amazing. Let's give the folks at home an overview of the book. What will they find when they crack open the covers?
Well, you're going to read or hear my story that I just shared about why I created it. You're going to get a copy of my list, not that I want you to believe what I believe in, just so that you see what a pretty expansive list looks like. You're going to hear see a lot of stories. It's a short, easy read. It's made up of stories. I've kind of taken some of the statements that I thought were really significant and told a story about why they were important to me. There's a lot of humor in there. Unfortunately, most of it directed back at the author. You'll find some good things about Jack Williams. You'll find some bad things about Jack Williams. I'm very transparent in my writings. And so it's an easy read, full of stories, got some nice humor, but it's got some strong takeaways.
You've worn a lot of hats in your life. One of them was college quarterback and coach. How did that influence your approach to life's big questions?
Well, I'm still a coach. We all are coaches. I was a paid coach for 7 years, but I've been a coach in business. I'm a coach for my kids. I'm a coach, I hope, for others. My definition of success, one of my statements is I believe in not comparing myself to others and other people's definition of success. If you and I don't define what success means to us personally, we have no choice but to try to live up to other people's definition. And so it forced me to think about that. And my definition is to be a positive influence in the lives of others. I'm a coach. And so I continue to coach.
Yes.
I hope this book is a product of coaching.
Absolutely. You're also a podcaster. Tell us a little bit about your podcast. I believe it's called Knowledge Cast.
Yeah, we just interview interesting people. I started a foundation in '93 to help high school male and female student athletes learn how to be more effective leaders and positive role models while I was in the corporate world,
Mhm.
and then devoted full time to my foundation in 2009. But during the pandemic, I couldn't work with schools, and I said, what could we do? Because we continue uh, with the kids that go through our program. We've had about 1,500 kids, and we stay with them for life. And I said, I'm not a podcast person, but they are. So I decided to make a podcast, create a podcast, and we're on our seventh season. And we just interview interesting people. We've had CEOs of Walmart, AT&T. We've had Megyn Kelly from the media. We've had coaches. We've had people that have just done incredible stuff. And we're just trying to provide some additional professional development originally for our former students, but now we've got a much bigger audience than that.
Yeah. And just telling the stories of different people and sharing their stories tends to be very, very informative because everybody's puzzle pieces together differently in this life, and hearing how they came together to become a Megyn Kelly or perhaps an executive you've never heard of but has achieved a level of success are all intriguing. Let me ask you this. How did your background in business leadership inform the lessons in this book?
Well, quite frankly, everything that I teach, when I was in business, I ran the businesses. I was the president of one and a senior VP in the others, and had pretty significant responsibilities. I ran my aspect of my responsibility off my I believe list. In fact, we even created in our business a we believe list. What are the things that we believe in, as a senior leadership team that we're willing to hold each other accountable? So my I believe principle kind of follows me around with everything I do. And that's why I wanted to write the book, because it's been such an impact and has such great application.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea to have these personal affirmations that you create as almost like daily devotional. I remember when I was very, very young, I was lucky enough to get hired at CBS News while I was still in college. And every time I walked into the doors of that broadcast center, I said to myself, here I am at CBS News. What am I going to do today to prove myself worthy?
Mm.
And every day that was my daily affirmation. And it was great because it focused on that I needed to distinguish myself from my peers. I mean, I had to be a team player, but I also had to stand out in order to get the promotions and move ahead in this highly competitive workplace. And I think the same thing is true with your beliefs. Once you realize what you believe in, once you have your priorities straight, your values straight, you have a definition of success, it's much easier to achieve success, you know?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Too many people plan their life away. And, I believe my future is today. And
Yeah,
I'm just gonna focus on where my feet are planted today. So only future I can guarantee is one I'm in right now.
exactly, exactly. And when people say, "Oh, that was the best year of my life," I'm like, "No, no, this is the best year of my
Right.
life."
Absolutely.
To live in the moment and to be successful in that moment is very, very important. You seem like a guy who's always got projects going on. I know you've got the videos that you've done with the high school students to empower them. You have this book out, the podcast. Anything else you're working on to create?
No, we're just really trying to expand our impact with our video. We have a number of video programs now. We were asked by the Georgia Department of Education to create some life skills programs for high school kids beyond athletes. We do a lot with non-athletes now, and we're trying to expand, or are expanding outside of Georgia now, and just trying to get more of a larger footprint so we can impact more people.
What are some of those life skills that you teach in those videos?
Well, we talk about first thing is the kids have to create their I believe list.
Hmm.
That's the very first class we teach, and every kid leaves with their I believe list.
Yeah.
We get them to think about defining success. We do public speaking. We do time management. We get them to understand about their sphere of influence, um, and dealing with reality. Almost every class in a video is based on one of the I believe statements.
Yeah. I guess it's really important when putting together those I believe statements that you're honest with yourself. Do you really believe this?
Well, that's where the rubber hits the road. And that's why it's important to put your list together, but it's even more important to read it on a regular basis because it serves as an accountability tool. You read it on Wednesday morning and you hit something. It happened to me the other day. And I'm saying, "Ooh, this is what I said I believe, but yesterday, this is what I did." And I'm saying they're not connecting. And I put an asterisk by it. And it's a reminder, all right, you've got to either change your actions or you've got to take that off your list. And I'd love to tell you, I never took anything off my list, but that wouldn't be true.
Right.
So it's a really good
Exactly.
ability tool.
Right, because there's things we think we should be doing, things we know we should be doing, and things that we are actually doing. And those three things sometimes are disparate. The name of the book we've been talking about today is The Question, A Guide to Answering Life's Most Important Question. And that is, what do I believe in? It's written by Jack Williams. It's an insightful book that guides readers through the essential journey of discovering their true priorities, their values, and their beliefs. The book is filled with personal stories as well as actionable advice, and Jack helps us answer the question that shapes our lives. It's a great book. It'll get you focused, whether you're a student, a business person, a parent, or wearing all of those hats simultaneously. You have to know what you believe in before you can achieve anything. Jack, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate your time, sir. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time until next time on Spotlight.